Erik skaffade ett till, skaffade ytterligare ett och anställde sin bror som medhjälpare. Han var affärsman redan som tonåring. Han studerade ekonomi på universitetet och arbetade sedan som tvålförsäljare för ett av USAs största företag. Efter drygt ett år med $85 i månaden så slutade han och startade ett eget företag med $50 på fickan. Det var 1938. Nu, 60 år senare, så äger Curtis Carlson och hans familj mängder av restauranger, hotell, reseföretag och Carlsson Towers bakom mig är huvudkvarteret för Carlssons imperium. Som idag omsätter 160 miljarder kronor om året. Det är hisnande summor. Nu ska du få träffa världens rikaste Carlsson. Curtis Carlson har smitit hemifrån. Han har fått en propp som påverkar hans balanssinne och han ska hålla sig lugn hemma. Men nu gör han ett blixtbesök i Carlsson Towers, hälsar på alla som går förbi, tittar in på kontoret och kan kanske se tillbaka på en del av sitt livsverk manifesterat i skyskraporna som bär hans namn och i gatan som leder hit som också bär hans namn. Han kan stanna upp i den enorma marmorfoajén där anställda varje morgon sedan invigningen hälsas välkomna av gästartister som sitter och spelar på en flygel i 2 timmar. Det vill han bjuda på, svenskättlingen som har arbetat hårt i hela sitt liv. Curtis Carlson har förverkligat den amerikanska drömmen. A self-made businessman som startat med tomma händer. Ja, till och med lånade pengar och som byggt ett eget världsomspännande imperium med företag som, trots att de flesta inte vet om det, även berör många svenskar i deras vardag. När hans företag firade 60-årsjubileum i Las Vegas för 4500 gäster spelades delar av hans liv upp i musikaltablåer med glitter, sång och dans. Curtis började arbeta tidigt. Och affärssinnet utvecklades snabbt.
Well, I think my dad made it crystal clear. I had 3 brothers and 1 sister. And my dad made it clear to all of us that we could have all the money we wanted, provided we went out and earned it, but it's out there, he said. And so, at first, I caddied in a country club. And I was out every day, except my mother would never let me go on Sunday, and that's the big day on a golf course. But I had to go to church, and we had to go back at night, too. But I was engaged in lots of things. I had a paper route, and I did a very good job. At least my manager thought so, because I had everybody except 2 homes. Had between 200 and 300 homes, and only 2 homes didn't take the paper from me. And we had 2 competitive papers at that time. And I had 2 brothers following me, and an opening came for a second route, and I asked the manager if he could let me have that, and I'd take charge of it. And he says, I think it's better than what's being handled now. Go ahead. And I had my brother carry that, and he got paid 25 cents every night for carrying that route for me, and I made 25. And then a third route came for a new part of the all new homes, new edition. And he gave me the third route. And Sundays, with the money I had, I learned how to drive an automobile, and I bought a second-hand car. And Sundays we'd fill that thing with papers, and we'd all three go down every road and get that job done. Then my father had been selling groceries, and he bought a what we called a pop factory. And I went to work on all summer. I was delivering pop, and then I became the bottler for him. And I bottled the pop, and my older brother was one of those. We had maybe 10 or 12 trucks on the road delivering pop to the grocery stores and everybody else that carried soft drinks.
Föräldrarna hade en dröm som blev till en självklarhet. Barnen skulle få studera. Curtis läste ekonomi på University of Minnesota samtidigt som han med hjälp av inhyrda kamrater fortsatte med tidningsutbärning.
I graduated in 1937 and I'd advise any young entrepreneurs I do today, take any job. Don't try to know what you want to do. Just take any job that gets you in till you know what the real world is like of working. And I went to work for farmers. I went to work for Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is over in Sweden, but they're one of our major firms here in the United States, and found that the first month I didn't sell anything, which was hard to believe. And but the second month, I decided that these people had to have my product, but they could buy direct from a grocery wholesaler, or they could buy from me. And the first guy that turned me down then, I said, fine, you know, I've called on you once before, and you didn't buy anything, and now you're turning me down the second time. The next time I come with these special packs that are 3 for 10 cents and so forth, I won't be here. You get them any way you can, and they can't get them from the wholesaler. Get them any way you can. He said, what do you want me to buy? And Procter & Gamble had to go right through all of his inventory and put it down. I said, here. He says, okay, signed it. And from then on, and I was with Procter & Gamble for 14 months. But at the end of that first year, I received a reward for being a high man out of the western half of the United States, and they had another high man for the eastern half.
But you didn't stay very long with that large company, although that, at that time, seemed to be very sound and safe. What made you leave and start your own business?
I went to a department store downtown to buy a pair of boots. And I bought them, and when I went up to pay for them, she gave me a bunch of trading stamps. I don't know if Sweden had them, did you?
Yeah.
And I said, well, what are these for? And they said, well, when you save up so many of these, you'll get $2 in cash towards anything you want to buy in the store. And she says, I better give you a book. You don't seem to know much about it. And she gave me a little book to put them in. And I thought, boy, if that's good for a department store, where they have many lines that they have exclusively, just think it'd mean to a grocery store. Because they all carried the same groceries. If it was a popular item, they had to have it to be in the grocery business. Now just think what a point of difference that could be. And so I called on my best friends that I had in the soap business. And it was simple to sell. They all got the idea right away. And I quit Procter & Gamble. I sold about maybe 15 accounts while I was still working on Procter & Gamble. Because in those days, you didn't give up a job very easily.
I can remember one evening while we were still dating, he came home over to pick me up, and he said, I've got something to show you. Something I think is going to be really special. So over we went with a flashlight.
Arlene, what do you think?
Gold bond stamp. So?
This is only the first. Look, there are a million stores like this all across America. And if I can sell one, I can sell them all.
We looked in the window, and I said, Kurt, you know, we're going to have to get arrested, and maybe they'll think we're going to rob the store. But that was his baby, and he knew how to promote.
My dad always said, someday this country would be my territory. Now with gold bond stamps, it is.
Gold bond stamps are here to stay. They will never die. It was meant to be that way, though I don't know why. S&H will fade with gold bond stamps.
And this has always been one of the proudest things that happened to me. I went in to tell my district manager, my boss, that I was going to leave. And he says, I can't believe it, Kurt, that you're going to go out and start in a new business all on your own in these times. You're just lucky to have a job. And I said, yes, that's right. And he said, now let me tell you something. That if you ever leave Procter & Gamble, you never can come back here. Because once you leave, you've lost the loyalty of our company, and you just have to go someplace else. Now, I would want you to know that you got a future for the rest of your life. We're a big company, and we got a lot of steps that you could take if you stayed here. And I gave it some thought for about 1 minute. And I said, yes, but I've just got to do this. And he took me to the door, put his arms around me, and said, if you don't make it, come on back. What a load that was off my shoulders. So that's my start in business of my own. And I've never been back to anyone else since.
Curtis Carlson sålde kartor med bonusmärken och häften till affärer som delade ut märken till kunderna varje gång de handlade. Men istället för att få kontanter när ett häfte var fyllt så fick de varor från Carlssons företag. Så det växte också, Carlssons speciella lager med bonusvaror. Curtis satte upp mål för sig själv varje år och spred bland annat det här budskapet bland sina anställda. Vill du hålla jämna steg med konkurrenterna så arbeta 5 dagar i veckan. Vill du bli bättre än dem, arbeta 6 dagar i veckan. Han hade stora krav på sig själv och på sina anställda. Hans temperament märktes på vissa möten. Dessutom var han en skicklig och oförtruten marknadsförare. När nya kataloger publicerades för de varor kunder fick välja bland när de samlat 1, 2, 3 häften, så visades även den upp för pressen. Gold Bond var Curtis Carlsons företag, men idén till bonusmärken var inte hans.
The trading stamps have been going on since 1896 in Milwaukee with 4 department stores there. And then S&H, one of my competitors, so competitive, they call them S&H green stamps, that I wouldn't allow any employee of mine to drive onto our parking lot with a green car. Now that's how agitated I became because they were such good competitors. They started in 1906, but only department stores. And I knew the grocery business from Procter & Gamble. And so I took the program and started selling it to the grocery stores. But I found that to get them the additional business that they needed to make it pay, I had to sell others around them. I'd give the food people exclusive for food, but then I'd get 3 or 4 service stations for every food store. And every drugstore you'd get, they're easy to get. And so I'd get all these, what we call retail partners, giving the same stamp, same program. And the grocers loved it because it's so much easier for the customer to get the prize that we offered. We always had a catalog of different things that they could buy from. We had stores in every town.
Step right up to these, we've been waiting for you. Leave us all your luggage, it's the least we can do. We'll show you to your room so you can start to relax. We'll deliver all your messages by phone or by fax. We're always at your service, cause the service we sell ain't your home away from home. It's our hotel, oh joy, we're having fun now. Our hotel, oh boy, you are the one now. Our hotel, boy, your work is done now. It's never any better than at our hotel.
Goldbond-företaget spreds över den amerikanska kontinenten, till Kanada och till Japan och köpte upp små och stora konkurrenter. Men som framgår av det här Las Vegas-numret vid 60-årsjubileet, Curtis Carlson gick också in i hotellbranschen. Han köpte först Radisson-hotellet i centrala Minneapolis. Sedan blev det fler hotell och så småningom ett samarbete med närmare 400 hotell i hela världen som får använda sig av Radisson-namnet. Och nästa steg, det blev resebranschen.
Our hotel, oh joy, you should serve us. Our hotel, oh boy, so don't be nervous. Our hotel, oh Lord, we're at your service. You're the one that we can tell. We'll have some fun, we're really trying to work. It's not to stay, spell it out. Hotel. Oh yeah. Wherever we go, whatever we do, we're gonna go through it together. It's near or it's far, by plane or by car. Wherever you roam, we'll get you back home, so you can relax for you know.
Det allra första Radisson-hotellet byggdes 1909 och fick namn efter en fransk upptäcktsresande. Carlsson köpte det 1960. Radisson Plaza är grunden för det som utvecklats till flera hotellkedjor. Inte bara Radisson, utan också Regent International Hotels och 130 Inn & Suites by Carlsson. Den snurrande globen kan tas som ett tecken på den internationella inriktningen. Och den svenska flaggan, ett uttryck för svenskättlingens starka band med Sverige. Så tas nästa steg. Resebyråer i USA, uppköp av franska Wagonlit, delägarskap i kryssningslinjer och över 500 restauranger med namnet Thank God It's Friday. Ett par av dem finns i Stockholm. Ytterligare en restaurangkedja blir det, Italianis. Och sedan kommer Aquanox och Star Canyon.
In 1978, we hit our first $1 billion in sales. And all the sales department got one of these rings with a carat diamond, and it says on the side of that ring, $1 billion. So that was our first billion, and we were all very proud of it.
Affärsmannen Carlsson är också svensken Carlsson. När hans företag jubilerar i Las Vegas öppnas hela festen inför kanske något förundrade gäster med 2 svenska sånger. Den ena är Kurts favoritmelodi.
I'm going to sing this goal. It's quite complicated, quite sophisticated. I learned it over in Sweden, but by the time I got back to Minneapolis, I had forgotten it, so I had to make up one of my own. And it goes like this. I'm going to sing it first, and then you can join me on the second go-around. Skål, skål, my note for me. Then we all have a drink. That part I remember. Skål, 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 skål. Very good, very good. I'm proud of you.
Well, this is a song from where your grandfather grew up in Sweden. A very special fiddler's song from Sweden.
Okay. My favorite song.
Tell my dear old mother hello.
You have a lot of pride in, here in Minnesota particularly, in your Swedish heritage. We've had more governors here from more Swedes, but Swedes and Norwegians, than any other nationality by far. Arne Carlsson, the fellow who always says in his speeches that he wants me to adopt him. It certainly is a very good patriotic to both countries, America and Sweden. I find that there's kind of an easy acceptance of Swedes in this country, particularly in Minnesota, but in this country. Most of us are proud of Sweden and the contribution they've made to all the countries and the way that they govern themselves. I got this telephone call from our museum director in which he pointed out that the art museum in Detroit had brought over a whole Swedish room taken out of a mansion that was north of Stockholm, probably a ship's captain room, they said. And they had it on display for 2 years. That's a long time. And now it was for sale. And I guess that's the way they do to get other new things in. And he said, do you want to make a bid for that? And I said, I told him that I wouldn't know what I was even looking at. And so I said, would you go down for me? And he said he would. I said that if you can get it for, he said that the price was going to go between $500,000 and $600,000, they estimated. I said, if you can get it for less than $600,000, if you can get it for $550 or less, there's $5,000 in it for you. And a week or so later, I got a telephone call that started in by saying I'm $5,000 richer today. And so I knew he'd bought it, and we were going to open a new office building here in Minneapolis in 2 years, and so we started it, and then we had the architect make a room, permanent room for that. And now, whenever I have a lot of Swedish organizations that come to have lunch, we eat in the Swedish room. Someone from the government sent me a package of a gift, of a picture of Selma Lagerlöf, who was a direct descendant. I'm a direct descendant, 5 generation back. And along with a receipt that she had her signature on from the royalties of one of her plays. I never knew she was a playwright. I know she's a famous author, but this was for them playing, using her play.
And then you have a lot of Swedish art. You have the Carlsson painting, you have Carl Miller's statues.
Yes, and the Carl Larsson painting, it was put up by the University of Uppsala, because this is, I understand, the only Carl Larsson that they had, and they put it up because they needed more money to add an addition onto the university. And so I had someone that knows painting go over there, and we bought it, and we're very happy with it. And I told just the other day, I told my two daughters what I paid for that painting, and be sure someday they don't go over there and see in the Swedish room a kind of a white spot on the wall, and it's gone. And they said they'd remember that. And Carl Miller's is a very interesting story. I broached it to Carl Miller's when he was alive. That you know, the Carl Miller's garden up there. That was the one that I liked the best. It showed a picture of a horse, and then a man that's leaving the horse and going higher. And I propositioned him, and he says, "Kurt, I can't do it because I've got a policy that only one of my sculptors can be shown in a continent. And we have one on the American continent. So I can't sell it to you." So Carl Miller's dies, and he leaves the gal that used to be his right-hand person, and she's living on the property, little cottage there. And I tell her, and she says, "I can't do it, that I'm carrying out his wishes, and he doesn't want more than one of his statues to be on a single continent." That would include Canada, America, and Mexico. So then she dies, and I get a telephone call from a man that you know very well, and I just can't remember his name, saying that they want to put a cover over it, over all those. And that is just too bad. He says it's the biggest drawing card that we have here in Sweden, and yet in the wintertime, we don't have any visitors. And we feel we could continue it if we had this enclosed. And would you help us? And I said, "No, I can't do that because we've got a university here that I'm very anxious to have it improve, and we've got all the problems that I can handle from a charitable foundation standpoint. But I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll buy that statue." Well, he said, I'd have to get, it belongs to the government now. He left that to the government, and I'd have to get permission. And he called me back just a few days later, and he says, "You can have it." And I got out in front of my office, and everybody comments on it. I got a good story for you. My daughter came home from grade school and said that the teacher asked everybody to announce where they came from. And where did I come from? And I told her, "You came, all you got to say is you're a Viking." And she said, "All right, but if he wants to know what country I came from, what should I say?" And I said, "You tell him you're a Swede, but now you're bragging."
Carlsson Companies är ett privatägt företag som omsätter svindlande 160 miljarder kronor per år. I foajén hälsar oss en Carlsson-staty välkommen och en utställning berättar om hotell- och restaurangkedjorna, kryssningsföretagen, marknadsföringsföretaget, fastighetsföretaget, resebyråerna och mer därtill. Allt som ingår i koncernen med dubbla scen i logon. Statyn är också en bild av mannen som med en vilja av glänsande metall drivit sig själv och andra ständigt framåt. En man som ser möjligheter och som tar vara på alla affärskontakter även om tillfällena råkar vara sociala tillställningar. En del gillar inte det. Andra uppskattar hans värme och hans stora donationer. Han har hedrats med många utmärkelser, hedersdoktorat och ordnar och titeln årets svensk-amerikan. Familjen Carlssons hus ligger i västra Minneapolis. Curtis och livskamraten Arleens satsning på det egna företaget innebar också försakelser när de 2 döttrarna växte upp.
I was on the road constantly. I was in on every major sale that we made to these big chains. And she never showed any impatience with me. She's been a wonderful wife. I met her at the university, and I saw an empty seat by her from way back, and I went all the way up to the front of this room with 600 students in it, sat next to her, struck up a conversation, walked her to her next class, and got a date with her. And from then on, I didn't date anybody else, just her. And we got married in 38 also, after I had started my business. She probably thought that was going to be a good business, and so she married money. No, I'm kidding.
I know.
We were blessed with 2 daughters. And we both want to go on, hopefully to get a boy, but we never had any more children. But these 2 daughters, I couldn't ask for anything better. One of them is very business-oriented and is now carrying on the responsibility for the whole company. Of course, we're much bigger now. And I was very gratified where in one of her speeches that she made just a week ago, she said that I've never yet inserted myself back into management, that I've let her make all the decisions. And that's true, because right or wrong, you learn more from the bad decisions than you do from the good ones. And so I want her to get that training. She's going to take that company to heights I've never taken it.
Even the U.S. Air Force was involved in the meeting preparation.
Curtis Carlson, Chairman, Founder, and Chief Executive Officer of Carlson Companies, hereby announce my retirement. And I'm pleased to announce the passing of the title of President and Chief Executive Officer to my daughter, Marilyn Carlson Nelson.
I pledge to join you in entering the new millennium with courage, with passion, and with a commitment to the goals that we have set today. I pledge to stand beside you.
Successful in your businesses, and you're a wealthy man, and you're using some of your money doing a very good job in donating money.
Yes.
What is your philosophy about that?
Well, first I'll tell you about the company is that I'm very proud of being an entrepreneur, and I feel that I should encourage as much entrepreneurship as I can. And the business school at the University of Minnesota have renamed their school the Carlsson School of Management. And so that's my #1 charity, although I think we probably have 40 or 50 charities that once you start giving, you can't pull it away, you gotta continue and perhaps raise it a little bit every year. But the main charity is to the University of Minnesota. So far, maybe you don't want this, and
yes.
Do you want to know how much I gave them? So far, I've given them $32,900,000, and pledged yesterday another $10 million, because we're determined that we want to be one of the top 5 business schools in the country, and the largest one here in the Midwest, and our competition is on the 2 coasts. And what we're going to do with that, half of that will be for outstanding students from any place in the United States that want to enroll at the University of Minnesota, and the other half will be to have an endowment for these more famous professors in the business school range. That will be substantial for them to come here.
När 84-årige Curtis Carlson hyllas vid sin avgång 1998 bidrar han med ett affärstestamente.
Wherever you go, go as a leader. Whatever you do, do it with integrity. Whomever you serve, serve with caring. Whatever you dream, dream with your all, and never, ever give up.
This is our family, everyone. This is a great, big Carlson global family, and we're celebrating together the first 60 years and the beginning of the second. God bless you all.
Yay! Don't leave yet.
The best of times is now. With friends and family we can do and dare. The best of times is now. As for tomorrow we'll be there, be there, be there. So hold this moment fast and live and love as hard as you know how. And make this moment last, because the best of times is now, is now, is now. Now, embracing all our yesterdays. Now.
Could you sum up your life so far?
Well, I'm 84 years old. I'll be 85 in July. And when I look back, I don't think I would change anything about my life. So I feel it's been more or less completed, And yet I look forward to the things I can do now where I can specialize. Fortunately, as I said, my daughter is highly capable so that I can do what I want. And one of the things is, as a stubborn Swede, I want to get that university that's named after me rolling and becoming a mecca for entrepreneurs.